Hey y'all, welcome back to my channel and welcome if you are new. I'm going to be doing all things peel base and we're going to be talking about cheesy glitters, which are called cheesy because they are chunky but easy to use, as you will see as the video goes on. I am also going to be applying a Waterslide decal, though I don't end up choosing that particular one. I do use the one where my other thumb is on the sheet. And the peel base that we're going to be talking about today is the peel base, the white peel base from Dip Nailed It, which is my absolute go-to. We're going to talk about how to put it on and all the things. Also going to be using the Dip Nailed It base and activator and the Sj3 Designs finger rest. Always amazing. So we're going to jump right into how to do this. So peel base goes on, we'll talk about the consistency. Consistency is super thin, almost like a base coat, so you just want to be careful how you apply it. I apply it starting at the middle of my nail, as y'all saw, and then I kind of work my way back to do a very thin coat, right? So I'm going to do this on all of the nails. Now we're going to talk about when to apply peel base. So before we talk about when to apply peel base, I'm going to start by saying that this video is almost 30 minutes. And I apologize for it being so long, but I wanted to kind of cover the cheesy glitter and the peel base all in one video. And if you stick around to the end, I have left the nails on for a few days and I included the pop off at the very end. So if you stick around or want to forward to the end to see how it goes, go ahead and do so. Alright, so back to when to apply peel base. Peel base is, for me, applied after I apply my jelly tips. I will put on a layer of top coat and I will leave it shiny. Pop-offs with peel base happen better with a slick surface. So I apply the peel base before doing any kind of dipping, but after applying my tips. So as y'all saw in just the beginning, I just had my tips on with a top coat. Now I wipe off with a little bit of alcohol to make sure there's no dust or debris or anything under. And then I apply my peel base just like you're seeing me do here on my thumb, and then you've seen on the rest of the fingers. I start in the middle to not get the bulk of it at the cuticle line, because if you're getting a bulk of it at the cuticle line, then you're going to have pop-offs early. Also, I'm leaving in the real time for you guys kind of how long it takes, but as you see there's little white spots. This peel base will dry clear. So as you see there's still some white on the tips and on the sides where I was showing y'all. I just kind of left the whole time while I was waiting just in the video for y'all so y'all could kind of watch it dry up. Now it looks like it could be dry, but the tips are still a little bit not quite dry, as you see the little bit of white that's showing. So I'm like, maybe another minute or so. I let another minute or two pass, and then I check it again, just because you want to make sure your peel base is dry before you start applying your base coat. See, I touched it and I knew it was a little bit wet still, as you can see the little bit of it mark it made. So then I let it fully dry, and it took about 5 minutes to dry completely. Now, being warm or cold does make a difference. If you're cold, it's going to take longer to dry, and if you are hot, it is going to dry a little bit faster. Also, on to the next part that's super important. When you're using peel base, you want to make sure that if you're using a dip base, that you put on a thin layer, kind of like 3 strokes like you would do your first dip top coat. You're going to put on a thin layer of gel base and let it dry, which won't take very long at all, because the peel base will make your first base coat dry so fast. And to get an even application of your dip powder, you really just want to make sure that that first layer of base dries. It takes about 30 seconds to a minute, does not take long at all for it to dry. So that is peel base to start in a nutshell. We'll talk about the pop-off when we get to the end. So now we're going to jump into the time to dip. You see how the brush split a little bit? All it is a matter of pressure and how you're applying the base on your nail. So just if you're putting too much pressure, the brush will split. Just pick it up, dip it back in the bottle, get the bristles back together, and then just start over again. And then everything will work fine. Alright, so this glitter is called a cheesy glitter. And I'm so sorry y'all for talking this whole video, but I wanted to cover it all in one for y'all so y'all can kind of have a jam-packed video of information. So, this is called a cheesy glitter line. The cheesy glitter means chunky but easy to use. Now, chunky glitters have not been my friend lately. Those are the ones with those big chunks of glitters. Some people can just make them look amazing, and if I try really hard, I can. There's so much work, and they give me a headache, and you really have to work for the look. And sometimes I'm just not really about that. I really don't want to take a whole bunch of time trying to place them, and then your nails get too thick, so I don't know. It's just not my style all the time. So these cheesy glitters still give you the big chunks, but they're so easy to use. I use this stiff brush when I'm doing any kind of glitter, really, or in all of my manis, because I like that it brushes off the excess and keeps my layers super thin. So I am applying a second layer, but the second layer I'm going to dip in, as you're going to see. Now, this is going to give me a little bit more full coverage because I only do 2 dips, sometimes 3 on like a solid if I really need it, but I like to stick to only 2 dips for my dip powder manis and my gel top or my gel manis. I only like to do 2 layers, 2 dips. But do you see how flat that is with just pushing it down with my finger? Now when you're using dip base, you just want to gently press. I usually have a finger cot on, but I don't know what I was thinking. It was late when I was doing this mani, so I didn't remember to put one on. So use a finger cot, use a glove, use a paper baggie, not paper. What am I talking about? Plastic baggie. So plastic baggie will help you push it. Anything to not get any product on your fingers or on your hands, just because you want to keep as minimal product. But I feel like I get the best result using my finger because the sense of touch. So as you guys see, I'm just kind of patting it down just a little bit, just enough. I'm using this new cuticle tool from the Birthday Bash box from Color My World. I will link that video if y'all wanted to see everything that was included. This was one of the things that was included, and she's talking about putting it mainline, so that will be awesome. It's like the big water marbling tool or cuticle tools that you see, but it's just the shorter end, which is basically a metal toothpick. So, back to what I'm doing. I let the dip completely dry, and I brush it off with a semi-stiff duster brush. I absolutely love those brushes because they get all of the excess off. And now you kind of just go around and see where you maybe missed or would like a bigger piece. Just hand placing a couple of the bigger glitters that didn't quite grab where I wanted them to be. I mean, it's all personal preference how you want it to look in the end. You could leave it fine, but it's just really personal preference when it comes to like adding additional glitters. Sometimes you don't pick them up exactly where you want them. Sometimes you want to throw a little extra pizzazz on there. Totally up to you. I just thought I needed a couple because there were a couple of empty spots. So I just added a couple extras on there. And y'all, these Dipcup liners, amazing. Look how fast. I'm going to use the same Dipcup liner for all 3 colors for the mani. And I use a different one for the clear because I like my clear to be in a white one. But I use the same Sorry, I've got baby birds above my head. They just hatched and mommy's feeding them, so sorry for all the squawking. I'm going to do the same process for my other nails. I'm going to put the decal on the ring finger, so that requires white to go underneath. But I'm going to put 2 layers of pink grapefruit on the middle finger, and then I'm going to do peach cobbler on the index finger. And then I'm going to put my decal on the ring finger. So while I'm doing that, you guys just are going to kind of watch me do the same process. I pour over the first layer, kind of shake the color and the bigger pieces to the top for the second layer, and I like to dip in for the second layer just because it gives me that final bit of full coverage. Now what's good about these cheesy glitters is that they lay super easy. They're super user-friendly, beginner-friendly, easy to work with, but they're also super sheer in one layer. So if you wanted to put a different color underneath and make it shine through, like you could put a pink dip underneath this and it would shine through and look super beautiful. Underneath the blue one, you can throw a light blue dip underneath, and you could do like make this glitter a topper. So there are many uses for these types of glitters. They're easy to work with, they're multi-use. I love these glitters, and they're just perfect colors for spring. There are 2 different collections. There is the initial Cheasy collection, and then there is a 2.0 version, which is basically more colors, but she doesn't like to label them different since they're all kind of the same glitter, just different colors. I would definitely suggest checking them out if you're looking for some super beautiful spring, easy to work with chunky glitters, just because they're my favorites when it comes to chunky. When I'm going to pull a glitter that I want to have no problem with, these are the ones that I'll pull out. There is also a 2.5 chunky glitter collection, which was released in darker Halloween colors, which would be your dark green, your dark orange, your dark purple, your dark blue. There was a gold in there, as like a champagne type gold, and a black and gray. So whatever color you're really looking for, they're all in there. The 2.0 is the color I have on my index finger. It came from that collection, and you'll see some of the glitters are just like a little bit darker, like that orange one. Those are the 2.0. They have, there's a watermelon one that I'm going to use, and I'm going to have that posted in the Facebook group next week. So if y'all want to check out some of the colors, I'll leave all of the information down below for y'all to check out everything. And my gosh, y'all, I spilled the orange dip everywhere, but I figured I would leave it in to show y'all that you can save a dip when you drop it. You just have to like stop panic mode for a second. And I just used the back of my Waterslide decal sheet and scraped it and put it all back in there. So thought I would leave that in for some comic relief since I am talking this whole video. But the cheesy glitters, can't say enough about them. They are my favorite chunky glitters to work with. I know people say that they hate chunky glitters, and I am people. I hate chunky glitters. Just, it's not my style. I like the shimmers and stuff, but these, she convinced me to try these, and I have not looked back since. I have done so many manis with these. They're just gorgeous colors, and they're iridescent. They're super pretty for spring, summer. The 2.5, the darker colors work for your winter, your fall manis. It just, all around, there's a color for everybody. Alright, so now what I've done is I just dipped all of the colors, and I take my cuticle nippers and I just kind of go around and grab those pieces that are hanging off, that are sticking up a little bit, so that it makes filing and shaping and stuff just a little bit easier. Some stuff just doesn't file right, I guess. I don't know. I don't like the way that, I don't like the fact of filing off chunky glitters, because sometimes you can file off the piece and it leaves like a divot. So now I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to just make sure that it is exactly how I want it. I'm going to dump the orange back into the container. And then I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to make sure that I get the other colors dipped in clear, and I activate them so that I have a protective encapsulation layer. See what I was saying? So easy, right? So I do dip all of my nails in clear, and then I activate them. Well, after, of course, I decided to find a couple of spots to hand place some glitter. But if you're working with glitter, and then I'm obviously going to put white under my decal, but I'm going to use a solid white this time. Well, not obviously white under the decal. You can use any color you want, really, but white shows up better with the decals. So here's my clear. The Invisible from Dip Nailed It is like top on my list for clears. I have 3 top ones. This is definitely top up there. Go ahead and dip all of my nails in clear, and then what I was saying about the clear and the solid, I'm going to put a solid white on my ring finger underneath my decal. So I want to make sure that all my glitter is encapsulated so I don't have any rogue pieces. Not that it would matter, because I'm going to cover it with the decal anyway, but it just, the way that my mind processes through the mani is I like to cover the glitter before using the solid, or do the solid, cover it in clear before I do the glitter, because somehow I still get a rogue piece, but I like to try to prevent that as much as possible. Rogue glitters in my solids just irk me. Something serious. But it seems to be something that happens, so I try to prevent it. And also what this clear layer is going to do is this clear layer is going to fill in all those gaps that the glitter leaves, and it's going to keep the glitter even. So when I go to file and buff, it will be super, super minimal. So I switched out the Dipcup liner because I don't want any residues of the glitters left in there. I switched out to this aqua color because it just is one that is super, super clean. I keep it super clean for my solid colors. The other ones I have one solid color, I have one for my dark colors, and I have one for my clear, which is white. But that's it when I'm not dipping into my clear. I usually like to dip into the jar, but if it's full, you can't do that. So anyway, I'm going to do 2 layers of the white. I did let it dry in between brushing it off, but I do 2 layers of the white, and then I do the decal application. So with my decal application, I do kind of leave as many steps as I can in here, but I also did just the decal application in a short video, in a YouTube short. So if y'all want to search my channel, I have a short uploaded of just me applying the decal. So if that's all y'all want to see, there is a separate whole video for just the short that's going to be uploaded at the same time as this video. So it's already up there for y'all to go check out if you'd like. It's a sped up version of doing it. So the white is done. I do clear encapsulate the white because I don't want to file any of the white off, even though it's under the decal. I'm just really weird about how I do it. I'm going to go ahead and activate my other nails while I'm waiting on the white to dry. I do 2 layers of activation just because I feel like that makes sure and certain that my dip powder is completely hardened, so that I am able to go ahead and go in and file. Even though there is minimal filing, I always go around and I file the cuticle line. I always go in and shape up the edges just to keep my shape looking nice the way that I want it. I always file the cuticle lines, keep everything nice and thin. And then I buff the top surface because I like to keep my nails nice and smooth. So I do not include my filing and shaping in here. One day I will be able to figure out how to record a video to leave it all in here for you, but today is not that day. I think my mail lady is coming, so I will be right back. All right, I'm back. Okay, I just had a delivery, so I just had to go grab that. So back to what we are doing here. I like to keep all of my nails encapsulated and clear. Now you don't always have to do that, especially with the white. I didn't have to, but I did 2 layers and an encapsulation of clear on my other nails, and I try to keep all of my nails the same thickness, because if I don't, that's another thing that will bug me. I like to try to keep all of my nails the same thickness, the same shape, the same length. I try really hard to keep everything as even as possible. So now we are going to wait for the activator to do its thing, and then I'm going to go ahead and knock out the filing and shaping and buffing off camera. I did cut myself a little bit, so we're going to ignore that. I'm going to put the decal on that ring finger, and I decided to use that decal because I feel like it matched a little bit better, but the Manny ends up being super busy. Bad choice of decal, but it is what it is. It worked. I liked it. My kids thought it was cute. It ends up turning out okay in the end. I don't know. Chunky glitters and decals, I don't know. I'm getting used to it. So I also apply the decal. I'll throw it in the water upside down, and as you see, when the paper is completely wet, it is like a temporary tattoo that you used to put on as a kid, or maybe you still use them. I don't know. Use them on your kids. Whenever the back is fully wet, then I will take it out and it will be ready to put on my stamper, which then I apply to my nail. So I'm leaving it everything kind of real time-ish for you guys, so you can kind of see how I do everything. This is like a all-in-one video, right? I do have the short. This is the short version I was telling you about. I have this short version on my channel, just this part. But I wanted to kind of talk through everything because I've gotten some feedback that you guys enjoy my talking and informative videos more than just the music and watching me do stuff. So I'm trying to include that more in my videos to help you guys out a little bit more. So this is how the decal is going to look. That's how it's going to look over white when I'm done. And now I use the Maniology sticky base to apply my decals. You can use foil glue, you can use gel base. I prefer to use the sticky base coat from Maniology. This is my second bottle, and as you see, it is very well loved. I already have a backup bottle, or 2, I think. I'm not sure, but I love this for my decal application and my stamping. It's just multi-purpose. Sometimes I'll throw it under a sticker if I get one that's not sticking really good. So it's just multi-purpose for me. I really enjoy it. I feel like it applies really well. It gives me time to play with my decal, but it will hold it in place as well. And it's over an activated nail, so sometimes I'll use gel base or dip base, but then I don't have a lot of time and it dries really quick. This is my handy dandy pusher tool thing that I like to use. But the sticky base is like my go-to for decal application. The angled brush is also a tool I use to melt the edges with my acetone. So I literally put it and I left it in real time for y'all. Wait about 15 seconds or so, and then you can go ahead and apply your decal to your nail. And then you want to try to press out I speed it up a little bit here, but you want to try to press out all of the wrinkles that you can. And with these decals, you can pull them just a little bit. They do stretch a little bit, so you're able to get a majority of the wrinkles out, and you won't rip them when you stretch them. You melt them with acetone. That's how you can like get some exposure of the white underneath. But this is the acetone. I like to press it down really good before using the acetone, because then once you're starting to use acetone, you're starting to get some melting going on, and if you drag it and pull it and stuff, it'll start to melt because you're melting the sides. Because what it does is it takes off the excess. So like the underside, I do the edges first, and then I try to get rid of the excess that's on the underside. Sometimes I will cut off the excess with some scissors as close as I can and then melt the rest. And another tip that I also like to try to do is to cut the decal to form at my cuticle line. Cut it to the shape of my cuticle line, because it just makes the process that much easier, less melting. Also, getting the edges off the underside of the nail will help the decal stick longer when you cap your edges with the gel at the end. It's very important to get the decal from rolling over the edges of your nail, because what's going to happen is that you're going to have lifting. The decal is going to come off with the top coat, so you want to make sure that the decal is to the edge, just about like the smallest little sliver away from the edge, so that you don't have any lifting to where the gel base and the decal will catch on something and it will pop up. So you want to make sure that you take a file very carefully and just file that little bit that's going to be like hanging over or right there at the edge. And now we're going to get on to the final bit. Now we are going to be ready for gel base and gel top coat. And I'm going to be using Dip Nail to gel base and gel top coat. The gel base applies beautifully. It is my favorite gel base. It is so thin. Just look how beautiful that glitter is. So pretty. I apply gel base. I cure for 30 seconds, which is the time required from my lamp. Sometimes it's 60 seconds. So if I would suggest curing for 60 seconds or finding out the exact details for your lamp, mine is 30 seconds. So I cure full 30 seconds, and then I come back and I do the gel top coat. Now this particular gel top coat is not HEMA free. It is also a wipe, not a no wipe. What that means is that it is going to leave a tacky layer at the end even when it is fully cured, which you must then wipe off with alcohol at the end. Isopropyl alcohol at the end to get the tacky layer off. That is how you get your super glossy finish. It is my favorite gel top coat that I've used. I have not had one beat it yet. This is my favorite. I stick to it. I always use it. I wish it was HEMA free, but not all things can be. Alright, so now onto the gel top coat. I don't show me applying that because it's the same as the gel base. You get the same wow effect. Now I'm going to finish up with a cuticle oil, especially since I cut my finger. Now, cuticle oil is always nice at the end. You want to make sure you're using it, giving your fingers a massage. It'll help any cuts, irritation that you may have had when you were filing or doing your nails. It just gives it that replenishing stuff, especially that replenishing little clench of water per se that it needs to just rehydrate everything. And it also helps any of those little nicks, cuts, things, the alcohol use on your nails, all the wiping you did during the mani. It just helps it all just pristine finish, right? So here we are, all finished with this mani, which I absolutely love. It looks even more beautiful in the sun. The glitters shine so much. They glisten like beautiful, and they're so easy to work with. I did very minimal filing. It took me maybe like a minute or two per nail just to clean up the shape on the side and crisp the cuticle line, but they took like next to no work to file. They laid really flat. The decal, like I was telling you, it's a little bit busy. Now peel base. You want to cap your edges to make your mani last. I wore this mani for 4 days, and I popped it off after 4 days in this video for you so that you could see. But capping your edges is so important. Now, we are back. 4 days later. 4 days of wear, 0 pop-offs, and I could have wore it a lot longer, but I wanted to get this video up for you guys, and I was a little bit late doing it. So what I like to do is I like to see with my cuticle pusher, and I like to see if I can just get in between the nail and the dip, my tip and the dip, to see if it will pop just with doing that, just breaking the seal with that cuticle pusher and popping it off. The thumb seems to do fine. Yeah, it flew off, but also, disclaimer, I'm going to end up popping my tips off, so if that is not something you want to see, you may want to skip this part, just because it might not be for you. I use gel peel base underneath, so just FYI. Also, back to what we're doing. So this nail popped off just fine. So now I like to just go and see if any of the other ones are going to pop off like that. And it's not looking like that one is. It's not looking like... so I'm very careful. No pulling, tearing, ripping, nothing on your nails. Very important. Very important. So I realized that it's not going to happen with any of the other ones. So next step is what you people usually do first is you take a 100-180 grit file or a file of any kind, and you want to break the seal of the gel that you did, because what that's going to do is it's going to release the sealing of the dip to the nail, so it will pop off that much easier. Some people also throw cuticle oil on, and make it just a little bit easier, because the oil will help it slide off, something like that. But it will help it get off a little bit easier if you don't want any pulling. Pulling is a no-no. Pulling is a no-no. You guys have to say it with me. Pulling and tearing is a no-no. So I use my cuticle nippers to just grab the edge that is exposed and just peel up the dip powder. Now it may look like I am pulling hard, but I am not. I am literally just cupping the side and just angling the clippers so that the dip is popping off. And it popped off in a whole piece. That's just how easy it can be. Now, this tip was ready to come off completely, and as well as the ring finger. So I ended up just taking those two off, and then I figured why not show you guys the rest of how I take them off. I've had these on for about a week and a half, and with the gel peel base underneath, that's just how it works. So see, just full off, ready to start. So this one, the whole nail just wanted to come off. And you see how easy that came off? I didn't even really have to do anything. I used a gel peel base underneath all of my nails so that I don't have to soak in acetone or file off or use a gel remover. I've been trying out a gel peel base underneath the tips. And that one, see, I barely even pulled it and it came off so easy. I wanted to show y'all there is no damage to my nails. None whatsoever. Now, the other ones weren't really budging. But I figure since the other two came off, why not show you how I take the rest of them off, right? We're already doing an informative video. So what I do is I take isopropyl alcohol, and I take an orange wood stick, and I take the end that is not the point, and I will just slide the end with some alcohol in the tip just to get a little bit of exposure. Then I'll dip it back, and I let the alcohol kind of like puddle in there. And what the alcohol does is the alcohol is going to break down the peel base. And voila! They come off easy peasy. I'm not pushing very hard at all. Like, you see, they just kind of pop off. The alcohol will melt the peel base that's under there and help it remove easily. So you can do this process with no damage to your nails. If you like to wear extensions and you like them to come off really easy, I would definitely suggest maybe trying this method. I'm a mother of 4, heavy water use, heavy mom life use, and these stay on for up to 2 weeks with no problems. And y'all see, no damage. Sorry, the nails are still there. I just wanted to show y'all how easily everything came off in one piece. But I really hope y'all enjoyed this video. Here's the peel base that I used, the gel one, by the way. I'll have everything linked below. I hope y'all enjoyed this video. I hope that everything was informative, and I hope y'all consider subscribing, and I will see y'all in the next video. Let me know what y'all think in the comments below.